Hey, hey, how's it going? If you're new here, my name is Jan and I love makeup. And if you're not new, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate you. This look you've seen before, it was a purple rain look. So yeah, I really liked it and I thought I should film another video. And I want to do a whole bunch of different palettes for this specific thought. I don't know. I just did my go-to whack on, no muss, no fuss. The eyeshadows just go on, look good, neutral, wearable, get it on, and boot scoot. So I was thinking maybe something the opposite of that, something super special. But that made me think special how? There's all kinds of ways that something can be special. You know, I could have emotions tied to a palette and that makes it special, or the packaging could be special, or there's a lot of different specials. So I thought for this one it would be special occasion. If I were going to put on fancy makeups, what eyeshadow palettes would I choose? A lot of my makeups are more fun than fancy because I don't know if you know this or not, but I am not a fancy girl. I would love to occasionally be fancy, but that's not my life. I don't do fancy. I think I would enjoy it, but yeah. Anyway, so I opened up my cabinet and I just kept thinking, okay, if I were doing something fancy, what palettes would I grab? And I did it just kind of off the cuff. No real thought went into any of my grabs. So much like last time, I assume the thoughts will come as I pick up the palettes and talk to you about them. Hopefully this is interesting. I don't know. The first one, aka the last one, seemed well received, so I don't know. Let me know if I should keep going, because I have a bunch of different categories. That's a better word than whatever else I was saying. And again, I'm filming this much later in the day because I filmed this video and had to do sponsorability things, and now I've got some time still, so I thought I'd film. But I am a little bit tuckered, so bear with me and my shenanigans. Okay. So like I said, super fast, no real thought went into it. These are not in any order. I just pulled them and stuck them on my desk. The Natasha Denona Glam palette. This was released a while ago. I don't remember when. I'm really bad at that stuff, but I definitely think fancy when I think of this palette. It doesn't have to be fancy, of course, but if I were going to try to create something fancy, I always think as respectable, but I don't know, amped up. You know what I mean? You probably don't, because none of my words make sense, but this one strikes me as lovely. It's beautiful. It's got the neutral wearable mattes with some really pretty shimmers. I think would create very nice eyeshadow looks that would work in a fancy situation. So yeah, I think this one would qualify. And though I don't love Natasha Denona's formula, I like this palette and I think that it would be a good one for this. I kind of was thinking okay, I'm getting ready to go to a fancy thing, or someone's like, ah, I need, you know, fancy makeups for an event. That's more believable that somebody else would be going and needing something from me. So that's kind of more what I was thinking, I guess. And then in this Nomad palette, I have a couple of these. They were doing empty palettes for a while and I grabbed some. I have the Sydney Grace and the Mel Thompson bundle that she kind of created because she was disappointed with Natasha Denona's Glam, or not Glam, Retro. Sydney Grace is another brand with a formula I think is beautiful. And I guess these would be more kind of reliable, some muss and fuss, but you know you're going to get something really pretty with these palettes. And technically this was a bundle, not a palette, but I have it in a palette, so it's a palette and I'm counting it. These shades are beautiful. You could get some absolutely gorgeous looks from the eyeshadows in this bundle, all of them. I don't think any of these would look out of place in an upscale fancy situation. Even the pink in here is just a beautiful, fancy, lovely pink. It's beautiful. It's got kind of a rose gold sheen. I need to use this. Holy moly, I need to use all of these. There's not one thing on my desk I've used recently, except for one thing. So there's only one thing. Wow, there's one thing on my desk I have used recently. This one is going to probably seem a little bit odd at first. It is the Glam Light and Hershey's 12 color palette. And the reason this jumped out at me for a fancy occasion is because the shimmers in here are so pretty. They are very, very, very sparkly without being loud. You know, like some sparkles are just too much. Not like for me, but you know, there are certain situations. And these ones are just beautiful, beautiful shimmers. And the mattes, I love, love, love this palette. I know that this could have been more of a neutral palette, but for me, this definitely leans more on the fancy side because of the color story and I don't know, just the options in here. It's a gorgeous palette. Yeah, I mean, this one makes me feel some feelings. It's so pretty. I really, really like it. And the shimmers are so versatile. You know, we've got some cool, some warm. There's like the coppery gold, and there's like a yellow green gold. They're just absolutely stunning. Would absolutely grab that if I were helping someone else get ready for a fancy gathering, because that's definitely more believable. But you know, whatever. I also grabbed the Lunar Beauty Nude Prism palette. And I know this would be a nude neutral palette, but this also strikes me as perfect for a fancy situation. And again, I think it comes down to the look of the shimmers. Of course, the mattes are exactly what I think I would want or would suggest for any fancy get together. You know, it's got everything, so that's good. But the look of the shimmers in here feel a bit more sophisticated. Maybe that's what I was thinking with the other ones. They just feel a bit more sophisticated. They're not quite so fun and funky and playful. I mean, obviously they can go there. This is all in good fun, right? We get that. And it's a great palette. I've only used it a few times, but it's beautiful. And like I said, the shimmers are just, they're special. They're really, really pretty shimmers. I like them so much. Next, we'll talk about this one, the Pat McGrath Mothership Mega Celestial Odyssey palette. This was the second of the mega palettes, I believe. I could be wrong. I was once before, but I don't think I am. And again, it's the same situation as the rest of them. This just looks like a sophisticated, beautiful color story. It's definitely got some color, but I think it's like a grown-up version of a colorful palette, because there are pinks, there's blue, there's green, there's purple, but it feels more grown up and sophisticated. And I have done some looks with this palette that I absolutely loved. I can't quite remember like all the looks, but I feel like I'm remembering and I can feel that I really, really enjoyed this palette. And it does seem kind of grown up and sophisticated, like it would work for a fancy occasion. So yeah, and we all know Pat McGrath had it going on. I know that the mega palettes were supposed to be not as good quality as like the motherships were, but having never used a mothership, I think the quality is fantastic and I have zero complaints. Next up, this one might seem odd for a minute, but let me explain. We have the Nomad Polar Express. And I think this one definitely qualifies. This was the first one I thought of when I was thinking fancy, sophisticated, you know, get together, occasion, whatever. Because of the shimmers in here. These are kind of your more grown up, sophisticated shimmers. They're just beautiful. We know I love Nomad. I'm not ashamed of that. The shimmers in here are just lovely. You know, it's not like they're super fun and multi-chrome and whatever, like the rest of these palettes. They're just beautiful. And I would definitely, I mean, you got silver and gold and like a bronze. It's got everything. No matter what you were looking for. And I mean, there is a multi-chrome, of course. Polar Express is a multi-chrome, but yeah, I think this is a fantastic palette for a fancy occasion. I would definitely reach for this one. And I'll hold this one up because it weighs 50,000 bazillion pounds, but it is the Tati Volume 1 palette. I think it's because of the glitters in here, which, if you know me, you know I don't like glitters. I just don't. I don't put them on my eyes or my face or my anything. I like these ones. And these ones I do wear. And I think it was 2 or 3 summers ago, randomly on a Tuesday, I put on the memory column, the black with all the like dark sparkles and glitters, with a bold red lip, and took Jackson to the playground. Like, you can get fancy whenever you want to, but everything about this palette says sophisticated. You know, it's just a very grown up, beautiful, well put together palette. And if I were more sophisticated, I'd have better explanations, but yeah, I think it's gorgeous, and I really like this palette a lot. I haven't used it in a very long time, but it is one I think of when I think about fancy occasion. Last but not least, this one is new. It is the Crowned in Shadows and Decadent Desires singles from Deina Cosmetics. Something doesn't seem quite right here. I think they're back in order. Okay, they're in a palette I got off this on. So the ones on the top upside down, or on the bottom right side up, are the Crowned, Decadent Desires, and then the bottom ones down here, or the top the right, are the Crowned in Shadows. When I got these from Deina, I'm on Deina's PR list this year, so if you're gonna order something from Nomad or Deina, use somebody's code. Mine is Jan. Use it if you want to support me. It's not like affiliate or anything. It just tells the brand that you like me and that they should keep hanging out with me. Anyway, when I got these eyeshadows, my first thought was these are shimmers and multi-chromes for grown-ups. Like the beautiful, knock your socks off quality and look of indie brand shimmers, but turned up for sophisticated, you know? Like, I don't know if that makes sense or if it sounds weird. I don't mean it in a bad way, like at all. But just, I mean, I'm only gonna swatch one because I could be here and doing this all day. It's stunning. These are stunning eyeshadows. And I don't think you have to be a grown-up and sophisticated to wear them. But if that was the look you were going for, these would definitely meet the brief. And it's been a while since I've used them. I need to use them again. And really, mixing and matching any of these palettes, you'd get something spectacular. Like 8 is too many, I think, really. But pick 5 palettes, one shade from each palette, and you could make a super stunning look. Should I do that? Let me know. I won't do it yet. We'll do like a poll. Maybe you could pick the 4 or 5 you think I should use, the palettes I should pick an eyeshadow from. Or you could choose one from each of them if you want to. I will have pictures of the palettes in while I'm talking about them, so you can, you know, look at them instead of me while I'm talking. That could be fun. You could like design looks for me and I could do it, but you don't have to, only if you want to. But yeah, these are gorgeous. I love them. I love all of these. And maybe it's a little bit weird to have Pat McGrath and Glam Light in the same category, but I don't think a brand is for one thing or another. You know what I mean? Like, you can take something and make it your own, however you want it to be. I would imagine I could take these eyeshadows and make them not sophisticated. It would be, I'd have to work on that because I do see fancy sophisticated when I look at these, but I probably could do something that wasn't necessarily fancy and sophisticated. But it's fun to imagine, you know? And maybe it's not. Maybe your life is like, oh, I'm always getting dressed up. I'm always doing fancy. And that's not your idea of a good time. That is not my life. Not at all. So I remember our early cruises, we would bring the fancy clothes. Like I'd bring a dress and Mike would bring his tux and we could all gussy it up. And if it weren't for the lugging it to and fro, I would still do it because I do enjoy it. I think it's a great time. So yeah, maybe I should throw a fancy party just for the fun of it. Remind me I want to do that, and then I will. And you should come. Holy moly, how much fun would that be? I'll let you know when it is. All right, I don't know if this was helpful or entertaining, or if you think I've completely gone around the bend. It's possible. The later in the day it gets, the crazier my brain is, so maybe. But hopefully I was at least a little bit entertaining. And for reals, let me know if there's a collection of shades or palettes you want me to use together or separate or whatever. I really not only encourage you to make suggestions, I really appreciate it, because then it gives me direction, and I do very well with direction, in case you didn't know that. I do. So yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stop now because I could just keep yammering nonsense, and nobody needs that. So hopefully you enjoyed this or found it entertaining or helpful or something. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Either way, I appreciate you hanging out with me today. Be good and remember to be kind to you.